It's so nice to see you.
I know I was just looking through my phone and there's a picture of us in Erewhon when you were doing a demo a few weeks ago. And I thought we should do maybe a brand collab for Valentine's Day with your
Yes.
cakes and my drinks.
I would love that. Let's definitely do that. We could do some cute reels and obviously a giveaway.
Yeah, for sure. I bet you must be busy right now with the V-Day season.
You know what's funny is I don't do I don't fall into the normal bakery like ups and downs that you see like with some baked goods. Um, I guess I think it's maybe part of that whole like special dietary like thing. Like or maybe just my size of the company. We
Yeah.
have ups and downs, but it's usually tied to other things like more internal um, propelling things, what I find. We definitely hit slumps like that I find are really consistent with other CPG brands with direct to consumer. Like June, July is usually really slow for us. And that's consistent with everybody online. And that's, like everybody's paying for camps and stuff like that is what I usually see that tied to. People are just less
Mm.
likely to spend on discretionary items. But other than that, I don't see as much of the whole like Valentine's Day, stuff, people buying for that or whatnot, some of those other holidays. But yeah,
You know what's so interesting is like, so I mean, you'll have to introduce your product and everything to our watchers, our viewers. But I noticed my own habits when it comes to like sweets and things like that, and how I just got back from Rwanda and had a amazing trip. And I'm in such a good routine when I'm traveling in terms of like food and exercise. And I think I'm just like really mindful about that because I know I want to stay like healthy and rested. And then I noticed I was at an event last night and someone had like these really yummy truffles and I have no idea what was in them. And I was just like, truffle, chocolate,
yeah.
and I wouldn't buy it. Like I love your products because I know it's made in a better for you way and there's not a bunch of refined sugar, and same with like the ingredients I choose for Cirilla. So it's just funny. It's so interesting to study our own habits as consumers and what is the occasion when I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like
Like
I'm
this
just gonna,
threshold where I'm careful with what I put in my body versus where I'm either bored or occupied with something else where where I'm not making that choice.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an interesting, or even like a social pressure thing. Like, everybody's eating it and I'm just like, okay, fine,
Mhm.
everybody's having it. And, and I'm not super militant about things. If I'm in the mood to have something, I will. I don't believe in guilt around food, because I think that the shame is worse than the food. But I
Yeah.
do think that as long as, you're being mindful of, that choice. You're not just using it as an allowance to just make yourself unhealthy. And for me, that works because if I give myself a lot of shame, I feel like that actually it backfires.
Well,
But
and if someone restricts, I think too much, like then it becomes like a bit, it can be like a binge purge type cycle.
exactly. And for me,
Um,
that actually is really like critical, especially for the way I raise my kids, because I own this brand that is very specifically clean ingredient. And I try to really make sure that I don't present like any sort of judgment on the way people are feeding their children, because I don't feed my children 100% sugar-free, gluten-free, grain-free, low carb. My children eat in a little bit more of a I don't want to say balanced as if it wasn't balanced to eat 100% sugar free, but like because I don't feed them all the time, other people feed them.
right.
And
And they
so
have to make their own choices at some
that's what
point.
it is. They're at the age that they do. They go to school and sometimes they'll eat
Yeah.
school lunch, and which that's like a whole nother
Oh
conversation that my
yeah.
brain will fall out. But I don't want them feeling shame around food, and I don't want them hiding food. And I want them to just make a choice around food that's like, how does food make me feel? And, I mean, there's food in my house that has stuff in it that I'm like not a huge fan of, but it's still here. I still bought it. And or they go somewhere and I want them to just know that it's like about knowing what's in your food.
Yes, being informed and being able to make the choice, and then also being able to recognize certain ingredients that maybe, are not good for our system. And
Yeah,
I think, like, I try not to put the good and bad label
me too.
on food. As same with children's behavior, right? You see, like, oh, what a good boy, what a good
No,
girl.
no,
Like, no,
no,
it's,
no. We're making a choice for a reason. You swim
yeah,
upstream. I
yeah.
just don't believe in like food is good or bad. I believe that food companies shouldn't be allowed to lie about what's in their food.
Mhm.
And that's for me what the problem is I don't think you should be allowed to. So, like people will say like, oh, well, what do you think about this company in the keto world or in the sugar-free world? And I say like, you know what, like personally as a brand, I believe that I created a company because I really want families to be able to find these particular attributes that have these things because we couldn't find that. But if other companies that don't use, I'll just say clean ingredients, if it helps someone, I don't like that it gives the illusion that it's a certain thing personally, but if it's helping someone reduce sugar or gluten or whatever it is, if that's part of their ingredients, then I think that's great if it helps them on their health. My only thing is I don't like when it's misleading.
Right. What do you think what is the number one most important thing to you as a consumer in terms of the ingredients?
For
Whether it's something you definitely want or you would never consume.
for me, I cannot have gluten for
Oh,
me
okay.
because
Yeah.
it makes me sick.
Yeah.
For my family, I think it being like a clean, real food is important. It doesn't always happen, but I do love to try and have products that are with clean whole food ingredients, like things that are made from real food that we understand to be from a metabolic standpoint, like our body is going to be able to use as fuel.
Yeah. I agree. Well, tell us what you're doing with your
Yeah.
company, what it is, where people can buy it. And then I want to talk about your affiliate marketing program. And I'm starting to have a lot of interest in our affiliate program with Cirilla, but it's really new to me. We're just getting started. So I'd love to kind of do a little dive into that and how it's worked for you.
Perfect. Yeah. So Butter Baked Cake Co. is a better for you dessert brand, and we make a clean ingredient treat. We ship nationwide, and we have muffins and loaf cakes and a ready to use frosting that is the only commercially produced frosting made with butter. Most use an inflammatory oil. So everything is sugar free, gluten free, grain free, and also soy free. Most are made with like a soy based product, which it's very difficult to find products on the market, especially in the sugar free space. Well, actually, really any baked.
It's so true. Soy lecithin, right?
Yeah, and
In
also
chocolate.
Crisco is really common,
Ooh,
or canola. Canola is in most products in the bakery
everything.
space. Yeah, or Crisco, which is,
I didn't know Crisco was still legal.
oh yeah, Crisco is legal.
Are you
Yes.
serious? My mom baked with that when I was a kid. She was very like organic and crunchy too,
Yeah,
and
but
she used
it's
Crisco.
one of those things where bakers are
Yeah.
like determined that it is the only way to get like, I'm like, no butter, use butter.
Were we talking about that at Erewhon? I had my dad's cousin, we used to visit her, and she would make these whoopie pies when I was a kid. They were delicious.
I'm sure.
Do you know what a whoopie pie
Of
is?
course, yeah.
Okay, and it was Crisco, some kind of Crisco frosting in the middle.
Of
And
course.
it would just like your mouth would be like stuck to that thing for the rest of the day. Like
Oily,
a coating on the top.
like on the roof of your mouth. You're just like, that's why when people are like, oh, Oreos are vegan, and you're like, it's
What?
Crisco. It is straight up Crisco because Crisco's vegan.
Is it legal? Because I think the US has much more, I guess, unrestricted
Yeah.
requirements for
Fine.
ingredients, right? If we
Yeah.
tried it, there's certain products that would not be sold in Europe or Canada that they're in all our stores,
Yeah.
right?
What's interesting is that monk fruit, I cannot I cannot sell my products because of the monk fruit, which is so interesting in Canada. But which is so weird. You're like, wait,
it's the erythritol though.
oh no, the monk. Wait,
Is it because it's blended with
it's because it's the
erythritol? It's
blend,
not the
right?
pure monk fruit. You can do pure
Yeah,
monk.
it's the erythritol. Yeah, the
Yeah.
erythritol. But it's like, wait, but the monk and the erythritol, it's like, but they sell it there.
Weird.
Yeah, they can sell it in the stores. You just can't sell it in a product. It's something strange. I'm like, wait, what? So Lakanto sells it there, I think, through their like process, but we can't make it in products and sell it there. I'm sure, I think they're working on it. They're like, there's some, it's like, it's a straight, it's like, that's not a synthetic, like that's a natural. Anyway.
So Whitney, one thing I've been thinking a lot about this week, I had this kind of mind-blowing awareness earlier in the week. And, sometimes something just comes to you and it's like, I don't know, it's been, I guess, stewing for a few years. It just hit me, and I shared on LinkedIn that a lot of founders with CPG products think they're going to be discovered in stores and that they can start in stores, and that grocery is going to be the way to go from the beginning. And what just is becoming so obvious is grocery is such a great channel for us to reach our consumers. It's just such great point of access for us to connect with them, for our consumers to find our products. And there are definitely occasions that a product can be discovered in a store, right? And we get loyal customers that way. But we have to build outside of the stores. We have to build potentially before the stores, right? To get that traction, get those consumers so that once we're in stores, they know it, they see it, they recognize it, and they buy it. And that we can guarantee our retailers a certain velocity. So I am just like 100 million% focus on velocity for 2023. It's my theme with Cirilla. And I'm just curious, what was your, if there was going to be a case study on how you built your company, because I know you started before stores, going direct to consumer. I'm so interested in how that went for you and how it's going now that you're selling in stores.
Yeah, I would say that I 100% agree with all of that. I did see your post and I loved that. I would say that I love velocity is the theme of my year as well. That's great, of course. I think that when we really started, when I would say like I really like got serious about taking my brand to the next level in 2000, we launched in 2018. In 2019, when we started direct to consumer sales outside of just doing events, I started some partnerships with our largest suppliers, Lakanto and Redmond Real Salt, which are really big, as you know, powerhouses in the no sugar world. And I was really lucky because they helped me leverage my really small footprint, which was nothing. I was nothing. I had like 200 followers on Instagram. And both of their programs were centered around affiliates, and especially Redmond. Redmond has an extremely effective affiliate program. Not only that, their ecosystem is around supporting their brand partners. And so I utilized my community built sales and marketing approach and just like got right in their little like niche and became really close with their entire team, and Lakanto as well. And Lakanto, as I don't know if you've worked with them, but their management has all changed now, but I still use their products. But
I always stop by their booth. I always see them at shows. So we always chit chat. It's the same people.
Yeah, they're great, but all of their management has changed quite a bit. They had like a big cleaning house a few years ago. So, but at that time it was like all the same people, and I became very close with all of them. And so I was like but I mean, I had nothing, no sales, but they just were introducing me to everybody and networking with me. And they introduced me at that time to a few of my most successful brand partnerships that I still have to this day, like Maria Emmerich, Ken Berry, like people that are like major powerhouses that require huge deals, contracts with their brands. But because I was brought in from a very trusted source, and because we became like very like friendly, and I built those relationships for like a solid year before I felt comfortable saying like, hey, like I was playing in their sandbox for like a whole year, really building a relationship. And I went to several events where I was at dinners with them, building a relationship, like really becoming a real person to them. And at that time, then said like, and I'd already been building my affiliate program with micro influencers. And then,
So those people you mentioned are they're big time influencers on social media.
huge, like Maria Emmerich travels the world. She's written like over 45 cookbooks. And she's like, she gets recognized everywhere she goes. She's a huge affiliate.
And they were already passionate about this kind of
clean
food and sugar.
Maria Emmerich is very clean ingredient, like same as Kenberry, and some of these other ones as well. But during that time, I was connecting with any other keto brand in the space, any other sugar-free brand in the space through these events, and doing collaborations, doing giveaways, because they were all thrilled to do those things too. So I went from having like 200 Instagram followers to, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 over like 18 months, because we were just piggybacking off of each other's
nice
followers, which was great. And, through that, because it's a super isolated audience. And so these are lookalike audiences that are perfect. These are converting audiences. These are audiences that make sense. And then I was then connecting with the larger affiliates in their audience and starting to build relationships. And so then their affiliates would start to like send me messages. Oh, hey, I'd love to try your product, blah, blah, blah. So I was starting to build relationships that way. So I started to spend more time on that, just organically. And then I started to build a standard operating procedure during that time around it. And after about a year, I then did reach out to like some of these larger influencers like Maria. And once I did, then Maria was like, oh my God, I would love to. You're the only treat on the market that has ingredients like this. So I did.
Yeah, there's not many.
There's not like it that we're shipping really with this profile. And because we've been building a relationship for so long, she like cut her rate by like 2/3. And like, I'm very, very lucky at that because of that relationship, because she believes in my brand and she cares for me as a person, as a woman-owned business. And I feel the same way towards her, like we are genuinely friends. If the business had nothing to do with it, I would, still care for her. And I feel that is a bedrock of my success of this business, is that she really helped amplify my brand at a time when I was growing, because her audience is extremely dedicated to clean keto. Like they will buy what she says, because they really care about the clean ingredients, and they're very militant about it. And so that was really important for my growth. And then after that, I started to isolate other ways to grow.
Let me ask you about that SOP that you wrote. So at that point, did you create the standard operating procedure kind of based on like, let's say you connect with someone on Instagram and they're excited, and maybe you identify them as a micro influencer or something higher. And then I'm assuming they ask for samples and you prepare that sample box, ship it out. What's your expectation at that point? From a sales perspective, like how long do you give it before you're like, hey, would you like to become an affiliate? Or
right.
And what's your expectation from them in sending that free box of samples out? Because we get that request all the time, and then I never hear from anyone.
Okay. Yeah, it really just depends, right? That's one of the benefits to me, having built a relationship with them a little bit before. Not as long. Okay, so the Maria example, that's like too long. Nobody has time to wait a year to build a relationship. That was a very specific example. And I have another one that's really done extraordinary things for me that I also took like, 2 years to build a relationship. But like, those are like my mega influencers. Sometimes I take a really long time to build that relationship, and it
like anything. Yeah.
it does for me pan out when I do that, because they usually work 10 times harder for me for a tenth of the price. But that's not feasible for most businesses to do for most of their influencers, and their strategies around just doing a different program. So, and also because I am bootstrapped, it's like, well, the only thing I have is my time. So I'm going to just, I got my personality,
and a commission maybe.
Me, and I got to make you love me. So like, let's go.
And we have product.
and I got muffins. So like, you're going to work for me because you believe in it. So you got to have a different strategy, which I realize. And the different strategy would be, is usually, let's say it's somebody who's got like, I don't know, like 20,000 followers on each platform, right? This is like a medium-sized affiliate. And they're like, hey, I'd love to try your product. And I would already have kind of looked through their things, and I'd like, peeked through and said like, all right, did they get in the game when it was easy to get all those followers? Right? Like they're also on TikTok. Point. They're on TikTok and they're on YouTube. This is good because those are converting audiences. And if they have a Facebook group, even better.
Right.
Groups is where money is at. Like if they have a Facebook group that is tailored to what you talk about, like clean living, food, healthy families, let's go. Facebook groups are niche markets. You can't advertise there very easily, and you want them talking about your product in that group.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that because there's a very specific way to get your product talked about in Facebook groups. So that strategy is like, okay, great. Like they've got these different platforms that they're talking about products, even better. Then I would say like, oh, we would love to like collaborate with you. Like, we love to like have when we send out some samples, we love to have like a conversation about what you have in mind, if you love the product. So use the wording, if you love the product, right? Like they're going to love the product. So, but if you love the product, we would love to maybe do like some things with you, like maybe like a post or a giveaway, things like that, but like put it already out there, not just like get the product and then like maybe we hear from you, maybe you don't. Maybe you're scheduling a call with them or someone on your team. Maybe you're sending them like a little like follow-up email chain that says like, here's some ideas of some of the other things like our people like to post about. And like, it just depends how much of a conversation you're able to have with them and how in depth you want to.
Yeah, actually, I like that idea of having almost like a Calendly link, maybe on a weekly basis where I don't know if it depends on the time, right? And like who is taking those calls, but it might be good to have a 15-minute call like on the calendar in exchange for sending out a sample box, right? Because if we're willing to do that, spend the money, spend the time, like they can probably give us 10, 15 minutes with feedback, and then we get to engage and connect and maybe explore next steps, and there's no commitment.
100%. The thing is, they love ideas for content too, because they run out of it. And also one thing is too, they also love giveaways because it boosts their conversions.
I'm going to have a Tulsi while we're talking. I need to get you our new samples. We have a Tulsi chamomile now. This is caffeine free. I love that. Yeah. Facebook groups. Are you active in any Facebook groups just on a personal level?
Tons of Facebook groups.
Even outside of business?
Well, yeah, I have to be because you cannot interact as a business.
But let's say
I don't love Facebook personally. I don't believe in, I don't have time for that. I have time for Facebook. That is so cute. I don't do anything other than on social media except for business.
Before Butterbake Cakes, were you engaged in Facebook or Facebook groups?
No.
Yeah. I'm like,
I am so private.
Oh, you are?
I mean, I was like barely posting. I posted like one thing here and there.
Yeah.
And now I'm like
time with kids, maybe.
Like I barely posted
Yeah.
it.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry
Mhm.
Christmas. Here, I was not the person who was like, here's my beautiful family every day. Like,
And now it's a have to. It's
no,
a
well,
have
now
to.
the only reason I have to is for work. And I'm like, shoot.
So Whitney, where are you at? I'm curious. I know you're selling in Erewhon. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how many locations you're in, but how did you transition
Yeah.
from D2C e-commerce now into grocery? And how are the affiliates you're working with helping to support your grocery activations?
Yeah, so we're in about 55 stores right now, in Southern California, and then some other smaller stores throughout the country, through that duo marketplace that I sent you. They've gotten us into about like 12 stores.
Mhm.
Um, one of the ways the affiliate network is that we have to just communicate with them. So we say like, listen, we're launching a new store. You know, we'd love for you to amplify this new store or a promotion or a demo. And one of the things that the more effective we communicate, the, you know, because they're looking for content too, right? And so if I have a more help and an operating procedure for that, and you send them the information, they'll do it. They're happy to help, because the more they convert, the more that it happens, the more, you know, successful their conversions are. And they
Mhm.
love to support the brands. So that's really effective. And actually, when I was communicating with the trend finder, and then also in this new presentation I'm doing for UNFI, that's one of the things I'm really highlighting, is that this is the way that we really accelerate velocity. As a small team, we accelerate velocity at the store level. I mean, we can do it better, but it's part of our strategy. It's a really strong part of our strategy as we grow to a larger footprint nationwide, is to utilize our affiliate influencer network to make sure that we're amplifying our brand at the store level. Because what you're saying is true. Like customers, especially in your space, because I do not have.
You don't have a competitor. We went through this. I know. We're like, is it possible? You
I'm still
can't.
also really expensive. You have to choose to spend a lot of money on my product in a space that is very new. You have a million competitors.
Mhm.
So we have different challenges for a
Yeah.
customer to want to pay for us.
Yeah.
My customer
Yeah,
has
we have a lot of, it's really interesting because I'm looking at our placement because we actually cross over into a few different
to
categories. And so
do.
this morning I had a meeting where we're really like analyzing an opportunity in a new set that our new flavors fit really well into. And there's very little competition. It's a different part of the store.
Oh, where?
It's a different store. I love what you said that this reminder, well, first of all, like working with affiliates, working with anyone, it's always an exchange. And I just like that idea a lot. It's like, you know, because we ask people for something right now, you're giving me your time. Like I've given you your time before. We're always exchanging like information and time. And it's not a monetary exchange today, but like I know that's part of working with affiliates, right? And so what have you found their expectation is? Let's say you're activating a new store in Southern California, and I love that word amplify that you use, like to amplify the retail launch. I added a page in my deck for that as well. It's super important for anyone out there who hasn't done that, to show the retailers, here's how we're going to support this launch, besides the generic expected like promotions and everything.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
big part of the deck, is how to amplify the sales once you're in.
And so they're looking for content too. What else are they're building their, I guess, portfolio, their content. Are they
One,
getting a commission? Are they getting paid for their time? Is it a referral percentage?
both. So it depends on the creator. You can, usually if it's someone reaching out to you, they're like excited to get product. And also you can like, we just have like a set like program where they can set up. We have a program on an app. Are you on Shopify?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Shopify, the app we use is Kick Booster, and it's easy to set up where it just pays out the affiliate like whatever, it's like 7%, or you decide what works for your margins. And then for like your basic ones, like I know like Redmond Real Salt pays like I think theirs is kind of higher because their margins are fantastic at salt.
Mhm.
But then they also, so on their content, it will post a link, and then the customer will go on the creator's content, click on the link, and then it tracks it. So if there's a sale, then the creator just gets paid through PayPal automatically. So you don't even have to touch it. So it gives the customer like a discount code, like
We have
10%.
affiliately, I think, on our
Yeah,
Shopify. Yeah.
which is good too.
Yeah.
Which
And we do an Amazon referral link now.
Yeah, those are all great. So then there's that. And then there's one thing I love about affiliates is that it's not like retailers. Like I get to control. Like I love direct to consumer because I get to turn the taps on.
Mhm.
And so I really like
Yeah. Have you ever been surprised where I know you know your audience, you know your primary demographic. Have you ever been surprised by really excited customers that come forward that you wouldn't have predicted would be so fired up about your product and kind of open your eyes up to a new type of shopper?
huh. Yeah, I guess for me, my online audience is very focused in the keto world and the
Mhm.
sugar-free world. And I don't think in the grocery store world it's as keto focused. I think it's mostly gluten-free, sugar-free. I think
Mm,
keto is a bonus for them in the grocery store world. So online, I think it's a lot more niche down, which makes sense because of the algorithms.
mhm. Do you
So I
think most people today are doing keto is it the same reason?
think it's mostly weight loss still.
Wait, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think a lot of my customers, like in the Maria world, they do it for weight loss, but a lot of Maria's customers are for like health concerns because it's such a clean keto world. Some of my
Mhm.
other affiliates, it's more like the weight loss thing. They don't care as much about the ingredients, but they're excited about them. But because my price point is higher because of my ingredients, that can be a pushback. You know, they could buy Quest, they could buy, Smart Cakes, which are less expensive. So, but when they find us and we taste so much better because of our ingredients, they're like, oh, cool, this actually tastes good. But yeah, in the grocery store world, I think they're excited because there's just not a gluten-free, sugar-free, all those things cake. And
Mhm.
so then they're like, oh, it's low carb too. It's not like the front primary thing.
I feel like when it first
So that
came
comes
out,
in.
there were all these stories of people dropping like a ton of weight really fast, and that was the big thing. And now for me personally, I'm pretty keto friendly. I try to be gluten free, not because I'm allergic, but it's an inflammation thing. Like for me, I feel inflammation when I eat wheat or refined sugar, or it just doesn't feel good in my stomach. So it's more that, and just maintaining. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not militant about eating keto, but I'm mostly in ketosis, mostly just from
Oh,
the way
wow.
I eat. I mean, and I can tell when I'm in ketosis, like, because I've been, 6 years,
Hmm.
and you can, when you've been in and out of ketosis, you can kind of tell what it feels like. So because I don't mostly eat a number of carbohydrates, but I do when I want to, I'm not, I don't believe in, for me, for my body also, I feel fine if I have some, like healthy, carbs, if I eat what I want. But I'm not, like, I just don't eat a ton of processed stuff. But if I do, I don't, like I said, I don't shame myself. I'm like, oh, so you had a taco. You're fine.
Whitney, and where can people find your products online and find you in stores?
You can find us at butterbakedcakeco.com, and we have a store locator on our website. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.